Hey everyone, it's good to see you again. I know that I took a little break in January because of my work schedule, but I am here for February TBR. Let's dig in. Our first book this month, we have This Close to Okay by Lisa Cross Smith. In this book, we have Tally Clark, who is going home one rainy October day when she discovers a man who is poised to jump off the bridge. She pulls her car off to the side of the road, jumps out, and ultimately convinces him to join her for a cup of coffee. They meet, he ends up going to her house, and she ultimately learns that his name is Emmett. As the weekend progresses, they're both trying to heal. Tally is recently divorced. We're learning step by step what brought Emmett to that bridge. This is supposed to be an uplifting story about finding human connection and also chance encounters. The second book that I have this month, this is Once Upon a River. And I have to thank Katie from Books and Things for inviting me to her read-along group. I have not done a read-along yet, so hopefully I don't disappoint. This is a story it takes place in the UK. There is an inn. There's a group of regulars who are sitting down to have some stories, enjoy a few adult beverages, when all of a sudden there is a very strange person who bursts into the room holding a deceased child. But the child, after being pronounced dead, breathes again. So then the question is, what happened? Was it a miracle? Is there a scientific explanation? Was there some kind of intervention? Was it magic? And then the second question, who is this girl? She's mute, so they don't know quite who she is, but there are 3 girls that are missing, and it could be one of these 3 girls. So I'm super excited about that one. I also got the audiobook on that, and it sounds very magical and entertaining. I'm hooked even in the first chapter. The next up we have is The Handmaid's Tale. This is on the 100 books to read before you die, at least according to the BBC. If you remember last month, I posted a reading schedule for 2021 where I talked about how I announced 1 book a month that I would be reading, and this is the February book. So if you are following along that schedule, this is the February book. This has been turned into a pretty decent Hulu miniseries. I've read this book twice before. I'm dying to read it a 3rd time, so it's pretty good. I vouch for it. This is about a dystopian society where the majority of the women can no longer bear children. So they round up the women who do bear children, and they have these ceremonies, and then they use these fertile women to reproduce for this dystopian society. Lots of good discussion and a little bit of a thriller because you don't quite know what's going on and how everything's gonna end. Loved it. Next book we have, this is The Survivors by Jean Harper. There is a person named Kieran who comes home, and he has this dark secret that it was some type of mysterious accident that happened in his small town, but when he is visiting, this body washes to shore, which uncovers or may uncover very hidden secrets. I love a good thriller, so this book promises to be a good thriller, so we'll see. We'll check this one out. The next book I have on my list is Little Fires Everywhere. This has also been made into a Hulu miniseries, which I watched that one because my underground book club said we were going to read this last month, but I was too busy with work to read it. So I said, like a good book reader, oh, I'll just watch the TV series in case I get behind. And I did start reading this book. There's a lot of differences between the series and this book. And I haven't read that much. I'm, in the first maybe 1 or 2 chapters. But I can already tell I think I'm going to like the book a lot better than the TV series. And let me know in the comments if there's ever a TV or movie adaptation of a book that you like the TV version better than the book. Because I always feel like the book is a lot better than the TV or the miniseries. But prove me wrong in the comments. And then we have another new release this month. This is The Kindest Lie. This is set back in 2008 where Barack Obama was just recently nominated as President of the United States. So there's a lot of hope in the air. We meet a character named Ruth, who is a professional woman living in Chicago. She is married to another professional, and they're living the good life in Chicago. And her husband would really like to start a family. However, Ruth has this secret, which she's been holding back, which is that she's already had a child back when she was a teenager and gave the child up to her family. So Ruth has to go back and make amends or make peace with the past. So she goes back and she finds the town that she was living in very divided, a lot of racial tension, some economic depression. She also meets a young white child boy named Midnight, and they are developing some type of bond. And it's also supposed to touch on the 2008-2009 economic recession. So I'm really excited to read this. I did start the first chapter on this, and I loved how the author was able to capture the hope and kind of the nostalgia. And it has been about 10 years since that time period. So I think it'll be good to go back and remember those times that were so difficult, especially I live in Metro Detroit, and this was the auto industry here. 2 out of the big 3 filed for bankruptcy. It was a big deal. They were laying off a lot of people and nobody was hiring. It was a very challenging time. So I'm definitely interested in looking back at that time period, at least with a little bit more perspective. The Four Winds. This is another new release this month in February. We are introduced to a character named Elsa. Initially in the 1920s, she's kind of older to get married, and your only worth as a woman in that time period was heavily based on your marriage prospects. She feels absolutely delighted when she meets this guy named Rafe, who she doesn't know at all, and they get married. Fast forward 10, 12 years, she's now in the 1930s. Her marriage is falling apart, and she's busy trying to feed her children who are starving, as well as herself, and save her marriage. And then she's faced with this big question. Should she stay and fight for the land that she loves? Can she stay in this land that she loves? Or does she need to move west to California like so many other families? I have been hearing rave things about this book, so I'm super excited to hear about that one. And we have 2 more. One I don't have for you right now because I pre-ordered it and it's not out yet. It is called The Gilded Ones. This book follows a young girl who is coming of age, and she's supposed to go to this bleeding ceremony. During the bleeding ceremony, if your blood is red, you can join the village. However, she's very nervous because she already has this strange sense of intuition. When she goes to the ceremony, her blood bleeds gold. So she has a choice to make. She either has to accept her fate as this outcast not able to join the village, or she can join this army of girls much like herself and they all have special powers. As she goes into the city, there's certain secrets that are unfolding. I am really excited about this book. I heard it might be the most anticipated fantasy book of 2021. I am really looking forward to that one. Last but not least, we have Girl A. This is supposed to be a can't put down thriller. There is a character named Lex who was raised in this house of horrors, and she's been known as Girl A in the media, where one day she was able to sneak out of the house, alert the authorities, and she freed one of her older siblings and then all the younger siblings. Her father never made it out of the house of horrors alive. He died. And then the mother went to prison. But the mother has just recently passed away and leaves this house of horrors house to Lex. As Lex is trying to face the horrors of the past, as she's trying to reconcile this home ownership, she has to kind of confront her siblings and sort through what secrets do they have, how do they reconcile with what she remembers, what are the plans for the house. It's supposed to be quite a thriller and also talk a lot about your sibling relationships. I love a good thriller, and I've heard also a lot of great things about Girl A. I had so many books this month. I have 3 or 4 that I had to actually push out. So hopefully I can get to all these books and maybe 1 or 2 more. Fingers crossed. I do have a week off from work this month, so wish me luck. You can also follow me on Goodreads if you want to see if I'm charting with all the progress on these books. And if you want to stay up to date on my current day real-time thoughts on all of these books and more. If you believe that books create ideas and ideas change the world, make sure you're subscribed to my channel where we can change the world one book at a time. I'm Lisa of Troy. Peace.